Good morning, bienvenue, and bonjour to our friends and family, to the staff, and most importantly, to my fellow members of the Hammarskjöld graduating class of 2020. Before I begin, I would like to thank my fellow graduates for bestowing me the absolute honor of being your valedictorian this year. It feels like just yesterday that we started our journey at Hammarskjöld. We arrived here only a few short years ago, and now it's already time to leave. And it goes without saying that all of us have gotten to this point as a result of the efforts that we've put into what we do and who we are every single day. To give everyone a sense of the moments that we've shared throughout the last 4 years, let's relive some of our memories at Hammarskjöld. Now, we began our grade 9 year in 2016, and this was the year when we went from being at the top of our food chain in elementary school right back down to the bottom in high school. I remember the very first thing that I learned about Hammarskjöld. The man behind our hard-to-spell namesake, Dag Hammarskjöld. This was the year when the music leading to class never changed, and when we'd listen to Genie in a Bottle every single day going into second period. We did everything that we see the grade 9s do now. Getting lost in the halls, playing music through their speakers between class, and just generally being smooshed among the older kids. And we all started to get used to this new system of school life, of having specific classes at scheduled times, and as most of us quickly noticed, actually having homework to do after school. We quickly found out that being late really did have a punishment, which was being forced to wait in the hallway while the announcements every single day became etched into our minds. And as we went on, we started to discover the variety of events that Hammarskjöld has to offer. From duct taping grade 9s to the wall during Decapalooza, to banning Tuesdays in the foods room, all the way to counting down until 9 a.m. hits for a stop at the breakfast club, and finally, scheduling in that fight to the death battle for Miss Johnson's Chocolate Milk Fridays. But with all, our place at the bottom of the food chain was quickly about to change as we moved into the next year. Transitioning into grade 10 was definitely much less of an adjustment for all of us. We quickly figured out that this is the floater year of high school, where we could walk around without a care in the world. And we were all still a little bit nervous, but we also had social leverage on the grade 9s, because we were all well aware that we knew more than they did about the school. For many of us, junior year brought us valued experience. And for others, it meant stage 1 senioritis, when you know how important a deadline is, but actively choose to procrastinate. But grade 10 was, more importantly, a year filled with more opportunity than we'd ever give it credit for. The advantage to knowing the basics about the school is that we were free to explore in even more depth what the school has to offer. I remember back to the day of Hammarskjöld's graded open house, where we were told that eventually we will find our place in the school, and on a larger scale within our community. Now, some of us started to participate in sports teams, ranging from chasing after victory on the football field, all the way to intensely swatting at that birdie in badminton. From the exciting volleyball games to the hyped-up cheerleading competitions. Others delved into the world of music and arts that Hammarskjöld has to offer, whether it was spending every Monday in glee choir or every Wednesday in jazz band. Spending every waking moment preparing for Hammarskjöld's drama productions. We went from immersing ourselves into the visual arts programs to building and manufacturing in the tech rooms and practicing aesthetics. Some of us were in clubs, participating in SAC, serving our school, or ambassadors, serving our community. Others were championing diversity in the Gay Straight Alliance and Special Needs Program, while others were empowering and building awareness about their cultures through the Fire Council and the Multicultural Club. But I came across an especially important realization throughout this fundamental year, and it is that although we might think that we have found our place, it truly is, and always will be, a process in the works. I learned that finding your place, whether it's on a small or large scale, isn't a moment that occurs only once. It constantly evolves. We finally crossed the threshold into our senior years of high school. Grade 11 turned out to be a year full of surprises and new experiences. Writing this speech has definitely helped me to remember that despite the roller coaster that we experienced, grade 11 was a year of immense growth. The first semester was completely unlike the second. This was the year before we graduate, our last year of not having to worry about the future, and yet we started to be held accountable for our actions in all aspects, whether it was socially, academically, or personally. It was the year of growth for a lot of us, our most influential year. It brought us some successes, but equally presented some setbacks. For many of us, we had more opportunities to meet new people, and this time we had the confidence to actually take them. We became role models for the younger grades and continued to look up to the seniors. The first semester of grade 11 was a game changer, the game being our lives and the change being the influences around us. I think that we can all agree with the fact that the second half of grade 11 took a dramatic turn. And after having one normal semester, we were all hit with the months of closures at our school. It took away moments, opportunities, and memories that we thought we would have had throughout that last semester. We would anxiously refresh that school website in the mornings, waiting to see if the breaking news headline would appear. Others took the chance and went straight to school, just to turn around and drive right back home. Because we couldn't be in class, some of us found different ways of continuing our learning, while others went right back to bed. Although our days were thrown off for a long time, we had to find new ways to live our lives. We developed or relit connections between people, and we finally realized what it means to be supported by those around you, and as a result, we came out of it. Hammarskjöld, being the incredibly resilient school that it is, truly did come out of it on top. Students, staff, administration, and community helped us to resurface stronger than we ever have been before. We truly came together as Vikings, and we knew that we could tackle any obstacle that came our way because we went through the worst that we ever thought would happen. And I believe that we all thought the same until this year hit. I've come to terms with the fact that instead of having a normal senior year, what we had was anything but that. The day before school started, a group of us got together for our senior sunset in Hammarskjöld's parking lot, commemorating the day before we step into our lives as seniors. For some, it felt different, knowing that we'd reached the beginning of an end, our last first day of school. There was no more comparing our schedules for classes next year and lining them up with our friends because all we had left was opportunities and making them into memories. A couple of weeks into the year, we had a series of strike days. Now at this point, we got a few days off and we really did not mind a day or two at home. The climate change movement took a huge step, especially in Thunder Bay, where we attended the organized protests in support of this extremely important cause. The first semester of grade 12 was filled, for many of us, with the last season playing a favorite sport, the last time being in our favorite club, or our last favorite school event. It almost seems as though the first semester was a whole year in itself because it feels so detached and different from the one that followed. We ended our grade 11 year thinking that Vikings could tackle anything, and in grade 12, we proved that we really truly can, because this time we had a global crisis on our hands. I believe that each and every one of us can attest to the fact that our high school experience was anything but predictable. Our third and fourth years were completely unlike the first two because we faced challenges that none of us would have ever imagined. We took everything one step at a time because it felt as though we were walking through our lives blindfolded most days. But what comes with losing one of our senses is the ability to heighten the others to identify what is in front of us. And we definitely did that to navigate our way through our ever-changing new normal. From the unpredictable days with the closures to being isolated during the pandemic, we have constantly had to adapt to the circumstances that seem to change at a moment's notice. Last year, we learned how to support each other by connecting outside of the school. But this year, we learned how to support each other from afar, while we've spent months apart from each other. Even with the distance, we've managed to maintain the bond that we have between us and make it stronger than it ever has been before. I believe that we owe the biggest thank you to the people that have supported us throughout our time at Hammarskjöld. To the teachers, thank you for being some of the most influential people in our lives, for adapting to the needs of every student and facing the monumental challenge of having to teach online. Thank you to our principal, Mr. de Blasio, and vice principal, Ms. Flaza, as well as all of the student services and office staff for never-endingly supporting us in all of our endeavors. You have created a school community that supports inclusion and celebrates our differences, and it makes me so very proud to say that Hammarskjöld does this on such a large scale. Thank you to the custodial staff for ensuring that we have a space to learn, and to the cafeteria staff at the Get Fresh Cafe for providing us with healthy sustenance every day. Thank you to every single influential member of Hammarskjöld High School for creating community unlike any other. Lastly, I believe that not only I, but all of us need to take a moment to thank all of our parents for getting us to the point that we are at today. We don't say it often enough, but thank you. Thank you for yelling at us in the mornings to wake up and for being so very patient when we yell back. Thank you for driving us to school every day and for bracing yourselves when we took the turn behind the wheel. Thank you for editing our essays even when they were terrible, or for continuously making our lunches, even though we ended up bringing them back home half the time. And thank you more than ever for supporting us through our unconventional high school journey. Without you, none of us would be where we are today. One of my personal favorite memories over the last 4 years is going to the convocation ceremonies at the auditorium. From grade 9 to grade 11, our jazz band and glee choir would attend the graduation ceremony, playing O Canada and commemorating a final goodbye to the Viking graduates. As each year passed, I eagerly anticipated the day that I would walk across that stage with my class of 2020. And I wholly sympathize with each and every one of you. We've all experienced a journey that we will never forget. We've lost and gained valuable moments and memories, and we may feel that we lost our senior year because it seems as though we missed that milestone rather than actually achieving it. The truth is, in life, we're never really given closure. It is something that humans have to constantly search for as we try and move on from our experiences in one phase of life and on to the next. And the time to celebrate is traditionally given through a graduation, a time of complete closure from our childhood and an opening into adulthood. And we may feel as though we lost the recognition of actually having accomplished it. But the reality is, we did not. One thing that I can say is that as the graduating class of 2020, we will hold our high school years closer to our hearts than any other class. We've all helped to shape each other into the people that we are today, with every experience, obstacle, success, and failure that we've encountered over the years. Because despite the chaos that we've endured, we are moving on. We have reached one of the biggest milestones of our lives, and we will move through this, even though it doesn't completely feel that way right now. Through reliving some of the memories and moments of the last 4 years, I got to thinking a lot about the core of our school. As I mentioned before, hearing the name Dag Hammarskjöld was the first piece of information that we learned about our school. But at that point, the name didn't impact us in a personal way. But it turns out that we may finally be able to relate to the name Dag Hammarskjöld on a personal level. He was the second Secretary General of the United Nations, and he is known for his impact on the world through changing the people around him in his ability to diplomatically manage hardships in an unthinkable way. And I believe that we have found a way to walk through life in a way that is anything but traditional over the last 4 years. Dag Hammarskjöld once said that we are not permitted to choose the frame of our destiny, but what we put into it is ours. The truth is, while we were given 2 years framed with obstacles, we put into it what we believed was best for us. Just like Dag Hammarskjöld, the class of 2020 embodies the qualities that it takes to face chaos heroically. And now more than ever, we need to remember that. All of us have grown up with obstacles in our lives, and we're always told that although it may be hard to endure, you will come out the other end. And I believe that our graduating class is the epitome of this seemingly impossible concept. We've stood by each other and had some of the most incredible experiences in our lives while enduring unthinkable challenges, all the while growing through our time as Vikings. I truly believe that the people alongside me are unstoppable forces, because from here on out, we can and we will get through the obstacles, however chaotic, that life will throw our way. From the very, very bottom of my heart, I wish you all the very best in life. Just like any other Hammarskjöld grad, we are and always will be Hammarskjöld Vikings.